Hey, good morning, it's Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Of course, I'm going to have to do a follow-up to the bombshell announcement last week on the new 15% property transfer tax on all foreign buyers. It's now been in place for a week, and effective August 2nd, so we're now into all transactions with foreign buyers will be now subject to the 15% tax. So as expected, last week was an absolute chaos, I think, in most Vancouver brokerages. What we had a mass flood of buyers contacting their lawyers and notaries who had deals that had subjects removed, had firm deals in place that were written in June and July, but didn't complete until after August 2nd. So naturally, we had buyers trying to move the completion dates up to last week to avoid paying that 15% tax. And, some were successful, some weren't. I heard lawyers just were swamped and just could not deal with any more cases. They can only do so many a day. But, this is another big question mark and something that I still don't have a firm answer on, and nobody has a firm answer on yet. In this new foreign buyers tax, there is a pretty heavy avoidance clause in there, saying that if they find out that you've done something in the contract to avoid paying this tax, you will be audited and you will still have to pay that tax. So I've talked to several lawyers about this. Some are telling me that because the provincial government didn't grandfather this, it was dropped without warning and effective in 5 days, that they are giving people this buffer that if you were able to move your dates forward last week to avoid the tax, they're going to let it slide. Another lawyer I've talked to, though, said, I'm not so sure about that. That anti-avoidance clause is pretty cut and dry. If you do anything to the contract that avoids that tax, so moving the dates up a week would probably fall under that. You could get audited down the road, and 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the road, you get a letter in the mail saying you owe us $200,000 tax. We want to know why you moved those dates up. Do you have a good excuse for doing that other than to avoid the tax? So I don't know how that's all going to play out. We'll have to see how it goes. I'm hearing rumors there's going to be some lawsuits, of course, and everything else. Because, the fact that they didn't, I'm all for the provincial government doing something to moderate or cool this market. It's not a normal market when you get 35% increases in prices over the last 12 months. But what I don't like is knee-jerk reactions, a tax like this being dropped with no warning, no consultation, but more importantly, the big thing here is they did not grandfather the deals that were already firm, and that is unprecedented. You've got people that entered into contracts in June and July on sometime $2, $3, $4, $5 million homes that didn't complete until the middle of August or September, that are now looking at a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 additional tax bill. And if you saw the news over the weekend, it's not just Chinese foreign buyers that are being caught in this. There's a lot of American buyers as well. They had a story of a young couple in their early 30s. They moved up here from California 2 years ago. He works as a graphic designer. They've been renting. He's been saving his money for the past 2 years diligently to get a down payment to buy a condo. They finally did in June. They bought a $600,000 condo that doesn't close until the fall. And now he's hit with a $90,000 property transfer tax unannounced. And this young couple, they put every penny they could into the down payment. They don't have $90,000 sitting in their bank account to be able to complete that deal and pay the tax. So now he's faced with a couple of problems. He's going to have to either walk away from the deal and probably forfeit his $75,000 down payment he's got. I don't know of anyone that thinks that that's fair. I certainly don't, but that's the way it is. They did not grandfather any of these existing deals. So we'll have to see where this goes down the line. Now, people need to remember too, I've said it in the last blog, what we're doing here is we're curbing foreign buyers. Now, an update to my last blog, at that time when I posted it last Monday, the data was we had about 3 to 5% were foreign buyers. Now, new data came out last Monday afternoon that bumps it up now to 10%. And we might get another tranche of data later this month that says it's 12 or 13%. Who knows? I'm going by the day to day like everybody else is on this data. But what this tax is going to do, the tax in itself is not going to have a huge impact on the market. Because let's say it's 10% of the total buyers, I'm going to say, like I said last week, probably half of those are going to be lost to greener pastures, like areas in the United States. So now we're left with about 5% or 6% of the foreign buyers that are left. In my experience, that probably isn't going to do a lot to the market right now, but it's the uncertainty that's out there that could do some serious damage to this market. The uncertainty being that the government right now is just pumping the brakes to try and slow this. They could do a lot more damage if they wanted to, with some other instigating some other taxes, tying it into the Income Tax Act, maybe having a good look at the Quebec Investor Program and petitioning the federal government to curtail that program, which is where a lot of our buyers are coming in. Because only 10% are foreign buyers. It's not doing anything to foreign capital. But it's that uncertainty that can spook a market. And I guess only time will tell here. I'm going to say we're going to need at least 6 to 10 weeks to really get a bead on what this PTT tax is going to do to the market. Is it going to spook other buyers from buying? Is inventory going to start to creep up? Prices start to go down? But you see, even if it doesn't have an effect on the market, the worrying factor is, well, the provincial government will just throw another one out there until they do reach their desired result, which is to cool this market and bring prices down. And that's the big unknown going forward. I'm reading online here, people, predicting that this is going to crash the market and developers are going to go bankrupt and everything else. Way too early to start speculating on that. Personally, I don't think this is going to, in itself, is going to have a big effect, as I've said, but it's that ripple effect that might. I've seen this done before, and it doesn't take much to spook a market, especially when you're at all-time record prices. So only time will tell. Now listen, I'm going to do another blog next week. I want to talk about 2 other things with this tax. I want to talk about the domino effect, how when one person can't maybe close on a deal because of a tax, it can lead to other deals being broken as well, because one sale is usually tied into multiple other sales. I'm also going to talk about developers and high-end pre-sale condo developments that have been sold recently to, I think, a much higher percentage than 10% of foreign buyers have bought into some of these, and how this PTT tax might affect those as they complete over the next 10 to 15 months. So this ripple effect is going to go out for quite some time here. It's not, I'll have a better bead on what it does to the market in the next 6 to 8 weeks, I think, with my listings. But the ripple effect will go out much further for things like pre-sales, which don't complete for another 18 months in some cases. As always, I'm Owen Bigland. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.